Picture me scrolling through social media. I'm looking through a few hashtags that appeal to me, and then I come across this particular post. There's this guy who calls himself the punk rock farmer, and he's made a post about how much he supports dairy farming, and how much he hates Oatly's Super Bowl commercial. Oatly, of course, being a plant-based milk alternative to cow's milk. Now, I'm making this video because this post kind of blew up a bit, with both vegans and animal farmers having a go at each other in the comments. But it was this one comment in particular from the punk rock farmer himself that I want to share, as I think this is a contender for the worst take ever in terms of just how much was wrong with this comment. So let me share it with you. First of all, terrible name, doesn't make any sense. Called the punk rock farmer but sticks up for animal agriculture. Defending the meat and dairy industries is like the least punk thing you could possibly do. It's certainly not rebelling against the system, and it's certainly not standing up for the downtrodden members of society. So he needs to think about a new name. Based on the comment we're about to read, I'd suggest something like the incorrect farmer, but I appreciate that doesn't sound very catchy. I want to thank the vegan word army that showed up today. This is what I learnt. Let's look at his list and see exactly what it is that he's learnt. Oats equals good, cows equals bad. Now this straight off the bat shows we're not reading from the sharpest tool in the shed, if that's the message that he got. But just in case he hears this, let's try eating oats equals good, eating cows equals bad. That might be simple enough for him to understand, and a bit closer to the message vegans hoped he would get. The Holocaust and slavery are the same as animal agriculture. They really say this. So you can see he writes specifically the Holocaust here, as in capitalized H and everything, so he's referring specifically to the Jewish Holocaust of the Second World War. We'll come back to that later. He also capitalizes the word slavery, and I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but I do love the bit in brackets with the emoji as well, like he's really trying to convince people that this is what vegans say. Okay buddy, tell me this though, if the animals are not enslaved, what are they? Are they free? Milk is pus. Well, okay, I looked through some comments and I couldn't find a single person saying exactly that, though I did find some people talking about the pus that is found in all cow's milk, referred to by the industry with its more scientific name, somatic cells. Basically the gross stuff that erupts from a spot on your face or a nasty wound. But no, apparently the vegans are saying that milk is all pus. Which, I mean, isn't much worse of a thought, is it? Vegans love to say, "You are triggered, yes!" But I'm not going on vegan pages and trolling. I can honestly say, and looking through these comments here again, I have never seen those exact words written before. You are triggered, yes. Brilliant. Gonna have to start mixing that one into my vegan outreach. I'm sure it will be effective. He was kinda triggered though, wasn't he? This was a 30-second advert for a product. And he made this post about it using like 20 different hashtags, including mostly vegan ones, in order to get attention and to start something. Triggered seems appropriate. Vegans are obsessed with anally stimulating cows. Now this one I actually laughed at, because it's like, what? Vegans are literally always demanding for an end to the fisting of cows. It's farmers who are obsessed with it. I mean, look, I'll put it on screen right now. Even their Facebook memes are all about fisting cows. This is from an animal farming page. It's unbelievable that he wrote that vegans are the ones who are obsessed. Vegans love anecdotal evidence and scoff at empirical evidence. They don't seem to be able to science. Right, now this right here. This is where I originally stopped reading. I just quickly left a reply and peaced out of there, because reading this particular point, well, it was just so fucking wrong. I assume he's not talking about the animals, as pretty much everyone agrees they are sentient beings. So he's probably talking about health or environment. So literally all the time vegans are showing empirical evidence to people who are saying stuff like, "Oh, I tried going vegan, but it doesn't work for everyone." Or, "Oh, my friend went vegan and got sick." And we're showing them the evidence from the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, from the British Dietetic Association, from all of these massive impartial institutions of nutrition experts who all agree that a plant-based diet is nutritionally suitable and indeed includes health benefits for everybody. Yes, for everybody. And yet they don't care. Same thing with the environment and food scarcity issues. We have the United Nations saying the world needs to shift to a plant-based diet, and yet we also have farmers apparently knowing better. What about the fact that we're in a pandemic at the moment that, as far as science has told us, almost certainly came from animals, just like bird flu, swine flu, SARS, AIDS, Ebola, etc.? And you still want to continue to farm animals and claim vegans are the ones who don't act logically or who disregard science? Excuse me, but get fucked. As you can see by the comments, they have developed a hive mentality. That might be a B12 deficiency, I don't know. Now, I make my own share of B12 deficiency jokes, like as in literally every day. It's the only quote-unquote funny material I know, if I'm being honest. But memes aside, studies have shown that on average, vegans are less likely to suffer from a B12 deficiency than vegetarians or even meat eaters. Obviously, this isn't because of what they're eating per se, but more because of the awareness around B12 amongst vegans in general. So really, these jokes are helpful, and I support them. But yeah, it's not true that vegans are B12 deficient, so I'm sorry to spoil that meme. As for hive mind, I looked through a lot of the comments as I said, and there's discussions about all sorts of topics going on, and the only thing all the vegan comments seem to share was this idea that it's wrong to abuse animals. So if being part of the hive mind just means that, well then I guess I'm already part of it. They use the words compassion and retard in the same sentence when responding to someone about their physical health. Well, this isn't something that I would ever do, nor can I approve of it. But at the same time, I'm imagining the scenario. Something like, without cow's milk, my bones will crumble into dust. And then the reply of, learn some compassion, retard. Both these people, the vegan and the non-vegan, they both suck. But it still seems obvious to me that one of them shows more compassion overall, by not condemning an entire species of individuals to abuse for a made-up problem. So it's not exactly as big a contradiction as I think the punk farmer was trying to imply. Obviously I don't know the comments he's referring to, maybe someone wrote a more legit sounding health concern about plant-based. But again, this just falls into the anecdotal stuff that Mr. Punk Farmer seems to dismiss, preferring legitimate studies. Studies which tell us that a plant-based diet is nutritionally adequate for everyone, even athletes and pregnant women. Can I also just point out here what he's been doing this whole time? He says this is what all vegans are like. Notice for this point as well, he says they say this. It's just ridiculous how he tries to group everyone who is against animal abuse together like that. It's shameful really. I would never claim all farmers are as thick as he clearly is. Veganism requires a lot of hypocrisy to be done correctly. You have to pick and choose which animals get the personhood label. No, actually, wrong again. The whole point of animal rights is to argue for the fundamental rights of all beings regardless of morally insignificant factors like species. And it's actually carnists like this farmer and his mates who separate different animals into different categories, where it's protect the dolphins, stab the cows, love the dog, electrocute the chicken, respect the gorillas and gas the pig. It's you, punk rock farmer, who decides which animals are granted personhood and which aren't. And I'd kindly ask you to stop being so entitled and egotistical as to think that's your place. We're all animals, we're all capable of suffering, and other experiences, including pleasant ones. So let's start having some respect for our fellow earthlings, yeah? Vegans, especially on this thread, have this weird delusion that they are the next level of human evolution, kind of like the X-Men, except they dress like hipsters and reek of privilege. Oh man, you're telling me if I stop abusing animals, I'll be like in some new version of the X-Men with superpowers and shit, and the only drawback is dressing like a hipster and stinking of privilege? Well, sign me up. For real though, there's nothing about not abusing animals that means dressing a particular way, other than not wearing animal bodies. And as for privileged, well, the most underprivileged human beings in the world are starving while we feed crops to animals to fatten them up to eat their milk and flesh, just because we like the taste. The most underprivileged humans on the planet are also the ones most affected by climate change, fueled in large part by the same industry you are defending. Think about how much you reek of privilege right now. You were born a human, a white male human I might add, and you live in a developed country. Imagine for 1 minute being an animal on a factory farm instead. And you want to accuse the people speaking up for those animals of privilege, while you sit back and make light of their suffering? My friend, your privilege reeked so badly I had to open all the windows in my house after reading your comment. Now, that's his whole list of what vegans apparently believe. I'll show the comment that I left, but sadly he never got back to me. Obviously the comment I left wasn't as serious as some of the things I've said in this video. It was Facebook after all. but I still called him out on the absurdity and falsehood of a few of the things he wrote. Lol, imagine saying it's vegans who are obsessed with anally fisting cows. Opposite, buddy. Also, I don't believe a single vegan would have made a comparison between the Holocaust and animal agriculture. You're equivocating. They were likely referring to animal agriculture as a Holocaust, which by definition it is. Farmers love to lie though, so unsurprised by your comment, and I only bothered reading half of it. Anyway, yeah, I hope you enjoyed looking through this with me. I don't even know if enjoyed is the right word. Exposing some of you to this kind of ignorance, stupidity, and downright dishonesty might have ruined your day, but I'm grateful you watched to the end with me. I appreciate you all, so please consider liking the video and subscribing. Also, please leave me a comment as well, because I love reading all the comments I get, as it allows me to pretend I have friends. Anyway, that's the video. Bye!
It's like milk, made for humans. It's like milk, but made for humans. Wow, wow, no cow, no, no, no.